So let's talk about the dwelling of God, which is a concept that has gotten lost in Bible translations. We'll notice that the Devar translates the masculine noun oikos as dwelling, which is different from the word house, where the word translated house is from the feminine noun oikia, which is different from oikos. Again, the dwelling of God. Masculine oikos, which is the outcalled. So the outcalled or church is not the house of God, it's the dwelling of God, which other words in the same word family as oikos are seen here in the Devar concepts explanation, such as dwellage, which is oikomene, dwell build, the dwell building, the dwelling, of course, the dwelling law or the guardship of the dwelling law guardians, and dwelling site. Where again, the dwelling, not the house, the dwelling of God is the outcalled, is the body. Colossians 1:24, for his the body, which is the outcalled. So the outcalled is the body, is the masculine oikos, dwelling. Where then in the first two occurrences of the word outcalled, which is ekklesia, translated church, Jesus states, I will dwell build my outcalled, where this word dwell build is from oikodomeo. Again, containing the concept of the masculine oikos, which you see the translation here in the King James is just simply build. Edify, builder, build up, etc., etc. But the concept contains the dwelling of God, which is the body, the outcalled here. Where when we then understand that the outcalled is the body or the dwelling, which Christ is dwell building, as well as we who dwell build, we understand what Jesus is saying in John chapter 2, verse 21, concerning the temple of the body, the outcalled, which he will dwell build, which is the non-handmade temple. And I will dwell build throughout 3 days another, a non-handmade one, where he will down loosen the handmade one. So Christ is the chief corner of the dwell building, whom all the dwell building, being jointedly reckoned together, grows into a holy temple in the Lord, which is the non-handmade dwell building, or the outcalled, the body of Christ. Ephesians 2:21. Where each member of the body is a stone, okay? So we ourselves also as ones being stones, but each individual member is a stone to be building into that temple, be dwell built on as a dwelling site of the Spirit. That's the non-handmade temple, into a holy priesthood, okay, which is in the Spirit, as a dwelling being, bringing up well-receivable sacrifices to God through Jesus Christ. Where then in Ephesians 4:11, according to the dwell building concerning apostles, prophets, well-announcers, herdsmen, and teachers, for the accordant fitness of the holy ones into work of service, into the dwell building of the body of Christ. The dwell building is that temple that we are constructing in spirit, dwell building one another, which is according to the guardship of the dwelling law, Ephesians chapter 3, verse 9, from oikonomia, which the word law is in the stem of this word, from nomos. So The guardianship of the dwelling law concerns the law of Christ, the law of the Spirit, not the law of Moses, which is the instead type of the true. But Christ, having become led by as archpriest, of the temple in spirit, of which we are priests, of the good being about to come, he came through the greater and more accordingly accomplished tent, not made with hands, the dwell building of the outcalled, non-handmade. This which is not of this creation, referring to the creation of that was given through Moses, as a pedagogue, boy leader to Christ. Where if we come down to verse 24, we read, "For Christ did not come into holy places made with hands, in the instead types of the true." So the instead types is the handmade, everything that pertains to the flesh and that which is handmade, of which the true is the non-handmade in spirit, into the heaven itself, now to be personally revealed in the two-eyeing face of God for us. The non-handmade temple, which also our circumcision is non-handmade. For we perceive that if our earthly house of the tented should be down loosened, according to that which is handmade, remember the temple handmade, we have a dwell building stemming out of God, a house non-handmade, an Aeonian house in the heavens. Where again, if you're not using the Devar translation, you are missing out on a plethora of profound truths hidden in the masculine noun oikos, contained within a word family regarding the dwellage and the dwell building and to dwell build the body of Christ, the dwelling side of God, according to our guardianship of the dwelling law, as dwelling law guardians.